Welcome to Unveiled, the HPD podcast where we dive into the world of policing. I'm your host, Captain Michelle Rhone, and today I'm joined by Senior Police Officer Emily Davidson and Corporal Sydney Lollar. Welcome, ladies.
Hello.
Hello.
I am glad that I could con you both into being here today. I'm going to let our audience know how this went down. So both of you serve on the 30 by 30 committee that I've mentioned in our two previous episodes. And so at our last meeting, I said, we're doing a feature on women police officers at HPD. Who wants to be on the podcast with me? And nobody raised their hand. It was so sad. Maybe like two people. But after the meeting, Sydney, I'm going to call you Sydney if that's okay
fine.
with you, approached me and she said, Emily really has a lot to offer. I think she and I should go together. And I said, you know what? I'm so glad you said that. I agree. So that's how we all ended up here today. And I think it's great because you each do offer so much. And I wanted to highlight women in specialty units. So last time we had a detective and a canine handler. This time we have Sydney, who is a corporal on night shift and on our SWAT team, which is awesome because I think we've only had 2 or 3 women really in the history of HPD that have served on our SWAT team. Mm-hmm. So I'm really excited to hear your perspective. And we have Emily, who is in our traffic unit, and we haven't had many women in there either. Maybe 1, maybe 2, but
Only one
not very
I can
many.
think of.
Yeah. And you do all the math, and so I'm already immediately impressed. I can only add like 12 to speed limits, and that's where my math ends. So I'm really impressed by all the things that you do with the motor weighing of trucks and all the fatal crashes that you work. So I'm excited to hear from you ladies today, and I appreciate you being here, whether it was, willing or unwilling.
It's a pleasure, really it is.
Yeah.
I'm glad to be doing this with Emily, even though I know she's probably feeling a little
nervous.
No, you're fine.
Do you want to open up with a parent joke? No? Okay.
Why was the Energizer Bunny arrested?
For being too excited?
No, he was charged with battery.
Oh, that's a good one. I love that. Little icebreaker, little parent joke. I love it. That's fantastic. We can't call it a dad joke because you're a mom, but that's perfect.
I'm not even a mom, so.
Not even a mom. All right, well, it's just a general parent joke.
It's just a punny joke, so.
It is a punny joke. I love it.
That was
I
real
love
cute.
it.
Yeah.
Awesome. So tell me, Emily, about your annual, don't you go camping annually?
We try to hit a national park every year. Last year was not successful, but we're trying to hit Glacier this year.
Very
hopefully.
cool. I remember hearing about that when we were on day shift together years and years ago, and I thought that was really awesome and a really special thing because you go with your mom.
Yes.
Yeah. And having lost my mom a few years ago, that's something that you'll always remember and always treasure. And so I think that's just really incredible. So you're going to Glacier this year?
Cross our fingers.
Hopefully. And
Yes.
where's that? I'm ignorant, so.
Montana.
Okay.
Oh, that's going to be beautiful.
Mm-hmm.
That's exciting.
The last time we went, though, it was 90 degrees in September, so it was a wee bit warmer than I was anticipating.
And do you sleep in a tent?
No.
Okay, thank goodness.
No. There are bears out there.
Yeah. I mean,
Lost me.
right. And she does math at work.
Right.
Like,
You're not afraid of bears and you do math.
Right.
Yeah, everybody wants to talk about SWAT, but this is...
you're our hero. That's amazing. So when you're not camping, when you're, what do they call it? Glamping? You're working fatal crashes, which we unfortunately have had several of this year.
Yes.
It's been a bit of a bad spell for us. We improved a lot from last year, but it's been hard lately. So how do you navigate that? Because motor vehicle crashes are traumatic. They're not pretty to begin with, but just the carnage and the loss. Like, how do you do that? How do you work through that?
I just look at it as a big puzzle piece, and a lot of law enforcement work, detective work is just a puzzle piece. So you start big and then you work your way smaller.
And you interview all the witnesses and pull the black box from the car and do all the forensic stuff.
Black box. It's a airbag control module, but yes.
Oh, is that what the technical term is?
Yes. And sometimes it gives us really good data and sometimes it's not useful.
Fascinating. So we watched, well, I don't know, I'm not going to put everyone in this category, but those of us who may or may not watch crime shows on TV, everyone thinks that box has all this information. And so it's interesting to hear that it actually sometimes doesn't.
No, I mean, it has a lot of really good information if it's not broken or damaged or otherwise useless. And if the sensors work and it actually captured an event, then it's very helpful. Sometimes it doesn't capture anything because if it's an older model vehicle, there are fewer sensors and in higher places. So certain crashes, it just doesn't get an event recorded. So we can take all the time, get the search warrant, pull it out of a vehicle, image it, and there's nothing there.
Oh, that's frustrating. All that effort for nothing. Wow. And you also do truck weighing or inspections, right? At the weigh stations?
Well, we do them here locally. We do truck inspections usually around War Memorial or up by the AMC movie theater.
Okay. And what does that entail? There's a whole outfit that you have to wear.
Well, I just wear this except for the outer vest and just dress down because we have to crawl under vehicles and measure their brakes and check that all of their lines are properly connected. There's no leaks, no fluid dripping. They've got all of their safety equipment. We're just trying to keep everybody safe because if a 26,001 pound or more vehicle crashes, that is a lot of weight and potentially a lot of momentum that could do a lot of damage.
Yeah, and fuel and oil and
whatever they might be carrying.
Sure.
Yes.
Wow. That's amazing. I think that's really cool. I always see the people doing that on the side of the road, and just to have that level of mechanical knowledge about a vehicle is really impressive. I think that's just really cool. So I'm impressed by the work that you guys do, and thankful that we have a team that does that we can call upon as the experts to do that. So that's awesome. Do you like it?
I love it. This is why I got into law enforcement.
Is it?
Yes.
For which part of it? The accident reconstruction or
accidents? I had a friend of mine in high school die in a pretty serious crash, and the agency for that crash didn't have a lot of information to provide to the family, so I wanted to do better.
Wow. That's really amazing. I never knew that. I always like to hear people's story about why they got into law enforcement, and that's a really amazing and moving reason. That's cool. And I think you have the highest level of certifications for crash investigation in our agency, if I'm not mistaken. If I remember that correctly from when I was in the training unit.
I might be still tied with a couple people, but I have upcoming courses in September, so we will see.
Yeah.
And I'm hoping to work towards the ACTAR certification. So
What is that?
Accreditation for the Commission of Traffic Accident Reconstruction. It's a national certification.
Wow.
So safe to say that you've already done better than the agency that, maybe didn't put as much effort towards your friend's crash, and I'm sorry to hear about that. But you took a tragedy and you're doing the best that you can with it to help lives here, and that's really cool. I love that.
Thank you.
And you're a legacy officer, aren't you?
Yeah. So my dad, he actually worked for Hampton. It was either 1983 or 1984. My mom was a state trooper, and she was actually in like the second class where they started allowing women to become troopers. So my sister worked at the Hampton Regional Jail when that was open. It's funny to think about it because these aren't conversations I typically have. This is just normal for my family, but yeah, I guess blue runs in blood. So,
That's cool.
Yeah.
I switched from the fire department.
Okay.
And by switched, I was never in the fire department, but my family was. So I was like, what can I do to be different? Oh,
Right, yeah.
I'll go be a cop.
It's a little different, right?
That's really cool.
Yes.
I knew about your dad. I didn't know about your mom, though.
Yes.
So you are just like in a family of women trailblazers in law enforcement.
I guess you could say that, yeah.
I said that, and I stand by that. That's really cool. And so what made you want to be on the SWAT team?
It's something I'd honestly contemplated for a really long time, a big part of my career, but there was a lack of confidence and, certain skill sets, one of those, like being firearms. And one day I woke up and I was just like, the only reason I'm not as good as I want to be is just because I haven't done anything about it. And MPO, Jeremy Tappan, our range master. I have to say, like, he was phenomenal. He's helped me tremendously and got me to the point where, you know, although being a tech, it doesn't require you to score what they do on the firearms for the operators, but it still lets me know that I'm confident enough that if you all needed me to use that skill, I know that I can do it, and I know that I'll be, you know, successful. And that was just something that I felt like I really needed to feel confident in before I decided to apply for SWAT. So
that's awesome.
Yeah.
I think, and we've had some of these conversations in our 30 by 30 meetings, but I think sometimes females, especially in any profession, but especially law enforcement, are our own worst enemies because we think that we want to do something, or we want to do something, but we don't really take any proactive measures to get what we want. And then we say we're not getting what we want. But you both have done that. You've sought out extra training, and you set a goal and took steps to meet it. And you saw a challenge in front of you and said, no, I'm going to do what it takes to get there. And I think that's a good message for us to pass along to women that are entering this profession, that, you know, sometimes it is a lack of confidence, and we all lack confidence at some point. I mean, I'm 5'3". I'm never going to grow. Like, I'm still waiting to get taller. And so I'm just not generally a big, powerful person, but I do what I can. And I think, you know, we become confident in other ways. We become good communicators, or we sharpen up our skills wherever we can. We take additional training so that we can be confident in this profession, and we can do the things that maybe once we were told we couldn't. Like, if, you know, your mom was in the second class of women that were even allowed to join policing, which is just incredible to think about a time.
And it wasn't that long ago. So it's, you know, I think it perfectly illustrates too just how far we've been able to come in law enforcement as women, to be able to say that, you know, we're having these opportunities. I mean, you're a captain. That's something that was like unheard of, I know, when my mom first started. So I just think that it's phenomenal that we're all getting to sit here, have this opportunity to have this discussion, and be able to say, look at how awesome these changes are. Yeah,
and to bring other women into this too, and say it's not just about being in operations. Although we all know my heart is always in operations. I love policing. That's why we joined this job. I just love being a police officer. But there are opportunities for women here, and it's not just go work the road. There's traffic, there's investigations, there's canine, there's SWAT, motor units even. Maybe we're hoping. So Emily and I both ride motorcycles, and I've tried so hard to get my boss to let me go to the motorcycle school, and he won't let me. I don't know why. I want to go so bad. But hopefully you'll go, and you have a motorcycle license, and that would be amazing, you know?
And if not me, hopefully somebody else.
Absolutely.
Another female. I mean,
yeah.
I kind of just picked up having my motorcycle license recently, and I'm still very new.
But you're taking measures to learn, because before we started today, we were chatting about, you know, you setting up your own cone course so that if and when you go to the school, you're prepared and successful. And I would dare to say that a lot of males in any profession, not just policing, they go and do things and try and sometimes don't make it. But I think we as females are very intentional. We set intentions and we set goals, and we take really proactive steps to get somewhere. And I think that's pretty powerful, and that's great. So I'm hopeful for you. I think it'd be cool. And if it isn't you, then somebody else. But there's a lot of opportunity here for us. Sydney, you're married to a fellow SWAT team member. Does that ever make you nervous? Because we've worked together. I've been on negotiations, and you've been in the bus with me. Does that ever make you nervous when he's out there and you're in the bus?
I mean, I won't say that it makes me nervous. Unfortunately, we're in a profession where I think you just have to come to terms with sometimes things can go bad. I have full confidence, though, not just in him, but in the other guys that are on the team, that we train often, we know what we're doing, and that we are pretty capable of handling just about anything that we come across. Obviously, there's always going to, there's always an exception, but I feel good about the kind of training that they do, and I think that they be prepared. So it takes the edge off some. Yeah.
I think that's a healthy mindset to have, and it helps coming from a public safety family.
It does, yeah.
I think having had a dad as a firefighter helped my mom when I became a cop because she said, okay, well, another one in the family. I'll just have to
Right.
accept no news is good news at the end of the night.
Yeah. So
But I think that's a healthy mindset to have. And I do trust wholly the team and know that you all are very close knit, have each other's backs, and they've really taken you in, and it's cool to watch.
it is. They honestly, like, I can't say enough good things about the guys that are on the team. I get asked pretty often if I feel like I'm singled out or if I feel like I'm treated differently, and I don't. Fortunately, I've been able to kind of grow up with a lot of these guys throughout my law enforcement career. I've been here for 11 years, so we've been able to see each other through the different parts of our careers and seeing everybody like mature and all the things that we've been able to learn. Like, sometimes I feel a little too included. I'm like, you guys are too comfortable with me. I take it as a compliment, but I've never ever felt singled out. And they are so sweet. You ask them for help, and that's all you have to do is ask. And I think sometimes maybe people are just afraid to ask because of their egos.
Sure.
They don't want to look like they don't know what they're doing, but you don't know what you don't know.
Right.
And until you ask the question, you don't get that answer. But
So
I think when
true.
you're willing to come forward and say, hey, I would like some extra help with X, Y, and Z, people are so receptive to that, and they can see when you want to make yourself better. So I have nothing but great things to say about the guys I'm on the team with. I'm very fortunate to work with such a big group.
That's cool.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think there's a lot of respect in having somebody say, or the humility to
Yeah.
say, I need some extra training here. I need some extra assistance in this area. Do you find the same thing being the only female in the traffic unit, that you're comfortable and able to go to your coworkers and...
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm very comfortable with those guys.
Very good.
And they all have a lot more experience than me. I'm kind of the junior one. I've only been in the unit for a couple of years, so if there's questions, concerns, I have no problem asking.
Yeah. And I'm sure they come to you too for your
They make me
expertise
do all the
in
math.
I mean, look, when you got it, you got it. I would make you do all the math too. That's really cool. That's amazing. Well, I think we'll wrap it up with that. And I'm so thankful for both of you, not only for what you do every day, but for being mostly willing to come while we hijack the podcast again from the chief and highlight the women that work here, because I think we are a force to be reckoned with, and a wonderful group of women, and I hope there will be more of us in the future.
Yes.
Awesome. Thanks, ladies.
Thank you for having us.
Thank you all so much for tuning in to another episode of HPD Unveiled, the Women's Series, and we can't wait to see you next time.
Thanks for joining us for Unveiled, a podcast highlighting the extraordinary men and women of the Hampton Police Division. To learn more, check us out on our social media and at hampton.gov/police.